Well, we're back again this week, and this is going to be a fun one because I have a feeling Nick and I are going to fight a lot tonight. Uh, we're going to talk minimum wage and what we think about minimum wage, and that's usually a little bit of a subject for us to kind of go fisticuffs at. So
It's usually the time we start throwing things a little faster in the pool, and I'm excited. It's good because we talk about it all the time. David and I can watch sports. We can get along about that. We can talk like this, and still it'll piss us off, and each other's opinions is what it is. But um, we're still friends at the end of the day. Your opinion doesn't matter because it hasn't affected me, right? Like, it doesn't harm me in any way.
Right.
Like, if anything, you're a business owner, I'm a business owner. Yes, okay, it harms us in our own ways of looking at things. So, tonight, I'm really excited.
I know you are.
I got one of my favorite beers, as everybody knows, Hazel's Nuts, but I went with the variant. I went with raspberry. Was looking at my counter of beers and was like, oh, it's still a 4-pack, so I haven't even tried this myself. And I was like, I might as well bring it out for a really fun show that we're going to get started with. So, Odd-Side Ales, Hazel's Nuts, Raspberry. Went with a couple things I've had. New Glarus, right, which makes hands down one of my favorite beers now.
The red.
Yeah. But now I have the New Glarus Brewing Fat Squirrel, which is really fun because, I mean, we're squirrels, but we're fat. Let's be honest.
You've had Fat Squirrel before. You like that beer?
Yeah. And Three Sheeps Brewing Bonbon Chocolate Milk Stout. So very excited for that. I enjoy the darker things, but I'm really looking forward to this Odd-Side Ale Raspberry.
I'm really into dark in the winter, which is totally opposite of the first thing I'm trying tonight. So I'm going the cider route because we have Valentine's coming up, and it's going to be a very busy weekend at the break room. And as some people may or may not know, ciders, no deposit in Michigan.
No.
So we break cider bottles. And I got Mackenzie's Apple Crisp hard cider here. It's very crisp and very good. And then when I finished that, I got one of my new favorites from Rourke Brewing, the French Toast Devil Dog Oatmeal Stout that tastes and smells just like French toast.
It's such a good beer. So cheers to everybody that's watching. We're gonna start tonight's episode in an ask. So if you guys could like, subscribe, share, it really helps us help you. And your friends, your family, everybody like that. So,
well, we'd really like to have some of you on. I mean, come on, talk to us about your finances. Let's get you figured out and better off.
That's so good.
Yeah, it is good, isn't it?
That's a good beer.
I know we're going to have some guests coming up in the next few weeks. We're hoping to do a franchise episode next week, which, just so you know, we're going to have to do it on Monday if we're doing it.
Why is that?
Because I'm going to Sybaris on Tuesday.
All right.
And I'll be in the pool, and I'm not doing it from the pool.
Let me see what I can do. We'll move things around. But yeah, owning a franchise, how to start one, how to own one. Very excited about that. But
and then we'll have some other guests coming up. We're going to talk to some people that have contacted and
some real estate stuff coming up. Guy quit his job. Granted, I got fired, whatever. But guy quit his job, went full-time real estate. Another one, what it's like to take on debt. I mean, we talk about things like that. So. We're hoping to keep interest kind of popping throughout the year. Again, help us reach our goal. We'd like to get to at least another 1,000 likes.
Well, so, I'll say I'm really excited because we tend to have some international listeners.
Yeah.
Russia and the UK and Canada, they've been listening to us. Some people from my homeland of Iran.
Yeah, now all we need is the people from those rich companies or rich countries. And they just want to sponsor us because we look like pathetic people. So look at the homeless guy.
I was hoping, we could get maybe somebody from Ireland to send us some beer.
That's what if you're
maybe Germany.
Hey.
I would drink with their
anywhere.
PM.
Japan has some good beers. Just beers around the world. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm definitely down.
We'll get a little banner up behind us that shows wherever it's from.
Check mark. Oh man, we'll get flags around the world.
There you go.
Get Sheldon Cooper on here.
Fun with flags.
Yep.
Fun with flags and beer.
So, right hot topic. $15 an hour minimum wage suggested. I am on the side of I don't think it's a great idea, right? One of my biggest arguments is I shouldn't shouldn't be forced into paying somebody. I mean, you take that risk initially, right? And that's what your interview process is for. But I mean, there's so much time into this, right? And then we know, especially in your smaller jobs where people just leave constantly and, oh, they should be paid for that time. No, like if you're going to devote yourself, right? Like a sign landlord, right? Sign a contract that says you're going to stay this long and we'll pay you this amount of time. If not, you owe me back, something like that. I can't say there's a perfect answer. I just know that investing that kind of money, like especially a small business, you know, how long it would take to get it for somebody to get to afford $15 an hour. I mean, you have to, it puts you that much longer. You know, and I go with the kids thing, right? Like 18 and under, right? I mean, those are the kids that you're teaching them how to be an employee. You're teaching them how to be successful and get there, right? Like, I guess if, you know, and I'd be open to suggestions of like, hey, we start at $750, but you have to meet a certain criteria by a certain time, right? Like, hey, 3 years in.
I know our minimum wage here in Michigan is higher than the national because the national average is $7.25.
Yeah, and I think we're at what,
nine
$9.25?
something.
Sure.
I want to say $9.40 maybe.
Sure.
But if you're under 16, it's much lower. If you're under 18, it's still lower.
Okay.
So I mean, they step you up, which is honestly, I think, a really good thing because you know, I started working 1992 or 3. I made $4.25 an hour. You know, flipping burgers at Wendy's.
Yeah.
And you know, I can't say I loved it because you know there were things that were great about it. There were things that were horrible about it. People are horrible.
Sure.
We had people come in and complain all the time. They were dicks, and that sucked. But I liked a lot of the people I work with. You know, I that's where I met Benson. He's, you know, one of my best friends.
Yep.
He graduated from high school when I was a freshman. I didn't know who the hell he was.
Yeah.
Okay. And I started working at Wendy's my junior year, and he showed up on a break. And everybody knew who the hell he was except for me. I had no friggin' idea who this guy was because he worked there in high school and then he came back there in breaks and, you know, he'd come and work there.
Sure.
So, you know, I honestly think everybody should work in an industry like that, retail or fast food when they're young because they get that knowledge of don't be a dick to everybody.
Oh, man. See, and I guess we're going to disagree upon that. Like,
go ahead.
I don't think we should have to work in because like one thing I always thought about was like, I think from, 16, like in high school, right? 16 to 18 type thing. Like you should be forced to every couple months, like try new jobs because like we talk about this all the time. Like my wife and I, right? Like we talk about inner city.
Yeah.
Inner city doesn't get the experience that they don't have this, and everybody talks about it's who you know and things like that. And so I think internships to me is a huge thing. So what I think is like, you know, you get people, hey, bring your kid to work day. Okay, well, you got the kid whose dad's a lawyer, right? And like, I don't know what it takes to be a lawyer. I didn't. All anybody ever told me was, oh, it's a shit ton of school, and you just got to be prepared to spend a lot of money. That's all I ever heard was a long time and a lot of money. Okay, well, those two things don't add up to my brain, right? Like, so I didn't pursue that, you know. Where my parents worked in a factory or my dad was automotive and stuff like that, right? Like he wrenched on cars. And so I'm a little handy, but I ended up in a factory, right? Like I didn't succeed past that. I mean, in my own life, like in real estate, I fell into it and I built myself that way. But, you know, I think there's a where they should find, I mean, there's so many successful people out there who are willing to let people do that, right? Like, yeah, come see what IT hands-on is, right? Come see what grooming dogs. I don't care. Like, go do this for time. Like,
so
work at Lowe's. I don't care.
We coached at Godwin together.
Yeah.
I transferred my daughter there. She finished her last 3 years of school at Godwin, which, you know, for anybody that's watching, Godwin is a lower economic inner city type school. Okay. Her junior year, they did away with exams.
Yep.
The principal they had was a fucking idiot. And he decided people don't graduate from a 4-year institution that go to Godwin. It was something like, I don't know, 3 or 4%. It was low. So we're just going to do away with exams. That doesn't no good.
Sure.
And our argument was, you're dumbing things down for these kids. I get it. A lot of the kids that graduate from Godwin, they're going to dig ditches. I get it.
Yep.
But you're not incentivizing them to be any better.
Yeah. Well, you look at, we have a good friend, and I hope he's okay with us giving his story, but right, like you look at Marv, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about him a little bit. He works at Kellogg, right? He works 80 some hours a week.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Like, and Kellogg pays, let's say, $30-$40 an hour.
Well, he's in the union shop, so he makes more money.
Right. Double time on Saturdays, triples on Sunday. Like, when we talk about real money, and like he sent his kids to Godwin.
Yep.
But then, so now, money doesn't make you educated, but like, right, like the education. So now his kids aren't succeeding to that level of what he did. I mean, right, he's still factory. Like, it's not like where, again, their parents, they're not around friends of parents that are, again, doctors, lawyers, nurses, right? I mean, the nurses that we knew, right, were more CNAs, right? I mean, they weren't full-fledged nurses. They were,
well, I mean, you say that, but I guess I can't say that my mom was an RN.
Right, but making good money. I mean, we didn't have that in Godwin itself.
There
right?
we did not.
The inner city type of a thing. Like, people stopped at a certain threshold. Like, that's where their education.
That glass ceiling was there.
Yeah.
It was easy to. It wasn't even a glass ceiling. It was just a ceiling. You could see. You could look up and go, "Yep, I'm not getting higher than that."
And my thing is when you look at it, does right. It takes a special person, right? Like, I humbly brag, I'm a special person, right? Because I was fortunate. I had a best friend in high school, like, whose parents were very well off, and like, so I got to see a little bit of what a 2-income family is making good money, and like getting around other people. Like, he went to New York, and dude, there's New York money, right? Like, you start to see what people do, and then you start to see, hey, oh man, I don't have to just be the guy making $30,000 being happy with it. Like, okay, hey, these people are doing this, like, and you have to grow yourself. Like, where him, right? Like, his parents are both engineers. Guess what he is?
An engineer.
An engineer. Like, he's a head engineer of a large corporation. Like, he's very successful at it. So for him to walk into it,
we talked about it last week when we were talking trading places.
Yeah.
A lot of it is not necessarily your genetics. A lot of it is how you're bred.
Yeah.
And if you breed somebody to be better,
yep,
they're gonna be better.
Well, so we talk about, I have a mentor, right? I mean, gosh, dude, we talk about my first real estate transaction, right? I wrote my lease on a line piece of paper. Getting educated from somebody who's done it, I learned what a lease was. Like, so education, yes, it doesn't have to be school education, but like education from people that do things. That's where it's at, right?
Well, and when we talk about the minimum wage thing, I think a lot of things really kind of factor into this. So part of the thing that pisses me off the most about minimum wage is federally it's at $7.25. But most jobs nowadays that pay $8, $9, $10 an hour require you to have a degree,
which is crazy.
And a degree costs you, upwards of $80,000, $100,000. So they already know you're in debt to some bank for this kind of money. You go from, hoping you're going to be able to pay those loans off to realizing you're probably never going to pay those loans off because they're not paying you anything. My job's a great example. So we'll just say I make over $40,000 a year because I don't want to get into total specifics, but I make over $40,000 a year. I don't qualify for my job.
Sure.
If they were hiring for my job today, they wouldn't hire me because I don't have a degree.
Yep.
Okay, I'm working towards my degree, but I don't have it. There's only one other person that we found in the nation that can do my job, and it's the person I trained to do my job. That's it.
Well, that's, and you're not paid for being the one of two people that know how to do your job.
No.
Right? Like, you're not, and that's, but a company controls you and they own you, and that's where the negative comes into play. Like,
correct.
You love doing your job, but you're stuck. I mean, the company would be screwed a little bit until they figure out how to train somebody.
They always say that if I leave, they're screwed.
Yeah.
You can say that in our company about probably 6 or 7 people I know.
Yeah.
If these people leave, we're screwed because nobody knows how to do that.
Yep.
And I get paid very well for what I do. But at the same time, I know if they decide to fire me, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Because my knowledge in the 19 years I've been there is on one homegrown system that they have, and it doesn't translate anywhere else.
Yep. So we talk about that.
We got somebody hopping on. Go ahead.
So we talk about that, and one thing I get out of it is it falls back to education, right?
I got to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I've known him for, we're going to say 30 years. I've never seen him in a pair of glasses in my life.
I didn't know.
I've never needed a pair of glasses until recently.
This is a new thing.
Yes.
I have never seen this in my life.
That's that's not bad.
It's you look very distinguished, my friend.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Are you drinking anything since you're joining us here?
I don't have anything to drink.
That's okay.
That's okay. So we're talking about minimum wage. We're talking about minimum wage and our opinions of it. And so David was just saying, right, like jobs now that are paying $10 an hour are requiring you to have degrees and things, right? And so that brings me to one of my most annoying points. One of my most annoying points is, again, you make the choice. You make the choice to go to school, right? You understand that, hey, I have my degree. I start at 10, but I know that my top is like $40 an hour with this company or whatever it is, right? Like you have to be willing to risk that. Okay. Where now you get the people that go and be an electrician, right? And they start at, I don't know, 18 and then they top out at, I mean, granted, you get your master's and stuff, 50 something an hour, but
Well, I mean, Mike's a great example here. He has his degree.
Yep.
Out of the three of us, he has his degree. He graduated with honors from Albion.
Yep.
So good school, high GPA, high achieving. Mike, you're working in your field?
Nope.
Obviously.
He was a psychology major. Him and I both, when we were in school, loved psychology.
Yep.
He is not working in psychology.
I am not working in psychology.
You
Though it
couldn't
does
find a
help.
good paying job in it, could you?
No, there's no good jobs in it. Even if you spend the time to get a master's or a PhD, you're either going into doing counseling for people or you're needing to be in the university side of things. And, I'm sure, depending on, who they get as clients, counselors probably can make decent money, but universities, I mean, they don't make great money.
I have a good friend who was a year under me in school. He was a teacher at Lansing Community College. And on his off days, he delivered pizza to, make enough money.
Yep.
Because he didn't have a choice. He ended up getting out of teaching and taking a promotion at Lansing Community College.
Okay.
So that he didn't have to deliver pizzas anymore.
Oh. There you
So,
go.
I mean, he's still with the school and he's making more money now, but he doesn't teach anymore because there was no money in teaching.
Yeah. Well, you gotta follow your passion on that type of a thing. When you're working for a company, I don't want to, I need to be clear about that. Follow your passion when you're working for a company, or right, take the money. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, I know, when I worked at Gentex, right, I got to a point where I was, maxing out and they raised my money a little bit, but I couldn't move up in the company because I didn't have a college degree, right? I can sit here and run a company. I can manage 450 units for people. I can do I can lead teams. I get great remarks from contractors, all that. But oh no, you don't have a degree. You don't know what you're doing, and like that's the thing that bugs me, right? And so minimum wage, like the guy went and got his college degree. I don't think we should be paying him. I think things need to be based more on skills, and you need to read people and figure out, hey, do I want to make this guy worth it? And that's where we go to, Dan Price, where it's like, dude, you're going to work for me. Like, you're going to be worth it, and I'm going to pay you worth it, right?
Well,
like,
it's one of the things I look at here. So I've been asked many times by friends.
Yep.
Okay, your wife owns a small business. What are you going to do if $15 an hour gets passed? We're going to pay $15 an hour.
Mhm.
Now, Dawn and I may decide we work more and have our workers work less. And by less, I mean, 3 or 4 hours less. I don't mean massive.
Sure.
I mean a little bit less to save. So like Sundays, I'm probably not off on Sundays anymore. I'm probably working that. I'm probably working Thursday.
Sure.
And then we have help on Friday and Saturday because those are the busiest days.
Well, and we talked about that with, when we talked about opening a small business or buying a small, right? He said, hey, like we're here during the week because it's our slowest time, and to pay somebody to sit around isn't worth it.
Right.
But our weekends, right? Like that's the busy time. Yeah, or you're officially earning this money, right? Okay, so that's what you're going to find is people are paying when it's value to them. But I mean, you got to get $15 in value, right? And so
Well,
then,
you look at it because Dawn has said this before too. She goes, if I have a choice, I'm going to have XYZ employee come in
Yep.
because this is how much they cost me to come in. And for me, if I'm paying, for example, we only require you're here 3 hours if we're not very busy.
sure.
So if she decides you're going to work and we're not very busy, you're only working 3 hours.
Sure.
But even if we decide, hey, go home early, we're still paying you that 3 hours.
Sure.
But we look at it and we're like, yeah, we're paying you like $34 to be here, $35 to be here for those 3 hours.
Yep.
So Dawn can sit there and go, I can find something for him to do for 3 hours.
Well, there's always something, and that's the problem is getting the employees to actually do that. Like, still, it's 3 hours that you could be getting a bunch done.
Yeah.
So what my big issue, and here's what I want to get to. My big issue with minimum wage, okay, is the spending. Okay. So I find that minimum wage, every time that you raise money up, it's not the cost of everything goes up. It's like the cost of expensive things go up. Okay. So everybody talks about how a gallon of milk's going to be $5. No, a gallon of milk's not going to be $5, but it's going to go up 10%. Why? Because they have to pay that much more to their employees. And yeah, okay, you're going to get that. But here's my thing is I'm a landlord. Okay. So we touched on it a little bit last week. Okay. So I bought a duplex from a guy who owned it in 1970s, right?
Okay.
Rent was $350 on it, right? Might have been cheaper, but that's what it was up to when I bought it. And deposit was $190 or something like that. So it might have been $190 just in the original, right? And then it slowly raised up through the however many years. Well, when you look at things, you find that back then, most women were stay-at-home wives.
They were.
Right? Like they lived at home. I did some research kind of coming into this, 50% of single women were working by 1970 or in the 1970s. 40% of married women started working, right? So when you start working, let's say without taxes or anything, right? You take 40 hours times $10 an hour. That's 400 extra bucks. Now you got 400 extra bucks. What are you going to do with it? You're going to buy a bigger place. You're going to get a car like every jackass does, right? You're going to spend. So we look at these things, and that's what people are always going to do. It's not that they're going to go buy more milk, more eggs, more bread, more anything like that. No, they're going to buy a more expensive car. They're going to buy a bigger house. They're going to spend their big monthly things that we talk about. Hey, you need to save on. You should cut back on. You have one kid, yeah, you want to, but you're living in an apartment, you don't need 3 bedrooms right now.
You're going to run into that everywhere though. And that's the big problem. You're going to find the people that have no money that go, I have to save to go to Disney.
Yep.
No, you don't. I haven't been to Disney since 2001 and it was Disneyland, not Disney World.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was poor as crap back then. I went because I was a moron.
Yeah. Well, you're going to find that.
Correct. You spend stupid money when you're stupid.
But why should I support that by giving you the chance to do it?
Not necessarily should you, but you bring up a great example. So the biggest argument I hear lately is, if we have $15 an hour
milk
minimum wage.
Oh,
Sorry, I couldn't find my words. Minimum wage. Tacos at Taco Bell are going to cost $18 for a taco. And one of the arguments I love the best is somebody keeps, sending messages out to these idiots saying, hey, I live in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Minimum wage in Washington, D.C. is $15 an hour. Taco costs 10% more.
Yeah.
So instead of being a 99-cent taco,
mm-hmm.
you're talking about a $1.09 taco.
Yeah. Well, and that, and that's fine. That stuff's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it. We talked about it, we've seen it with the McDonald's, right? $1 menu. It's now $1.20, $1.30, whatever it is.
Took a piece of cheese away.
Yeah, and they went from, $7.25 an hour. Now they're paying $10, $11 an hour. So yes, companies aren't going to eat that cost. Yes, you're gonna.
But they could.
Sure, they could.
So being a small business owner, now I'm a minority silent partner,
Yep.
but I know looking at numbers, we could afford to pay 15 if they make us pay 15.
Sure.
Eventually, I want to be at 15. We haven't been open 3 years yet.
Sure.
Have we been open we haven't been open 2 full years yet. We're working to that point. So like Dawn and I sat down and did the numbers the other day. And we figured out, okay, when we don't have 2 leases anymore,
Yep.
we can afford to give the girls a raise.
Yep.
Before we're worried about giving Dawn a raise. Now, full disclosure, I need Dawn to make more money.
Yep.
But I'm not worried about her raise before I get them a raise.
See, and I mean, I'm not saying that you're right or wrong. I mean, that's your choice,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
But if your company closes, understand, hey, you know, I mean, granted, you got to be smart enough to notice that, hey, this amount of money is stressing me out. I mean, right, but what is it? It's 90% of small businesses fail in the first 3 years, 75 in the first 5, and it's like only 20% last past like 10 years,
Well,
right? I mean,
here's the thing I look at with most of those businesses. I don't think people that go into those things really research what they're doing. So, for example, and Mike knows this, somebody opened a rage room in Ionia.
Yep.
Okay. And they were open. They wanted to open during the beginning of COVID. So they were targeting April of last year.
Yep.
Of course, everything got shut down. They didn't get to open until June. They kind of did things half-assed. They ended up putting out an announcement like 2-3 weeks ago saying that because of COVID, they're closing.
yeah.
So I'm sure they're never going to watch this. And if they do, apologies to them. Their business didn't close because of COVID. Their business closed because they're idiots.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not trying to call anybody out here, but when you go into something without really researching what you're going into, really understanding what you're doing, kind of flying by the seat of your pants, you're going to fail. I mean, that's just the way it is. Even when we went into, break room therapy, people kept telling Dawn, if you don't put 100% in, if you're not, always working the business, if you keep doing shift, you're never going to grow the business. They were absolutely right.
Yeah.
But my issue was, if you're not making any money, we can't pay the bills. So I worked literally every day at my normal job. I worked every day at break room therapy. And when possible, I would call my friends and go, hey, what are you doing? You want to come help? And Mike, for example, came up many, many times to work for free.
Yeah. Well,
Even now, he's working Saturday here.
And you find that, right? Like you find that you have to, I personally believe like it takes a village to do a lot of things, right?
Especially to help a small business.
Oh yeah. I mean, not just supporting them in the fact of, oh, hey, I'm going to show up and do stuff. Like,
it doesn't necessarily cost money.
right. Like, time, right? Time is huge. I deal with it a lot, right?
Mhm.
Because, my mom, right?
Yep.
My mom is a prime example. I get an opportunity to go buy a house. Like I have a 30-minute gap to go do this, and my kid needs to be picked up or something from somewhere else. Like it's literally like make $50,000 and it's
Take
like
up your daughter.
It's not that my daughter's not important, but I gotta feed my family. Like,
Yep.
hey mom, can you go do this? Like I gotta go do this. Yeah, no problem, right? Like, or back when I first started, it was, hey, I have to go fix this sink because I can't afford the $220. Can you watch her? Because because it's gonna take me 4 times as long if I have to sit there and watch the kid. So
and there are certain things you look at, and I mean, we're getting off tangent. We always do that.
Mhm.
That when you look at a small business that helps, that doesn't necessarily equate to money. So one of the things that Mike always does that always makes me really happy is we'll create a post with break room therapy on Facebook. Mike always shares that post. Doesn't matter what it says.
Mhm.
He shares it every time. So his friends are always seeing, whatever promotion Dawn's running or whatever she has to say or whatever small business she's promoting that day or whatever it is.
Yep.
Because, it cost him nothing to do that. Even coming up to work here, he came to work one time when her and I had something else going on. And I'm like, I'm paying you. And him and I had an actual fight over paying him. Because I'm like, listen, I'm not there. I'm paying you. And he's like, no, I don't want your money.
Yeah.
I know that, you know, he's not going to want my money when he comes up. So he's going to get some beer, or he's going to get dinner, or he's going to get something.
Crap, I just put my beer in the fridge. He's getting my
He's
beer.
getting your beer.
Dude, I just paid your employee. This is great. Hey, the good beer, that's mine.
Probably. I mean, he drinks Paps.
That's true. No, you know, so we go back to my point of things will cost more, right? I mean, yes, okay, but the things that you can get loans on, that's what costs fucking more, right? Like
It does, yeah.
houses will cost more because why? Because you can afford it and you can spread it out for such a longer period of time, and that's where the education that you and I come into play. Like, okay, so a brand new F-150 back in 1990, right? Like, how much did that cost?
13,000 because my mom bought one in 92 or 3.
Like $13,000. Yeah,
$13,000. It was a rear wheel drive.
Sure.
Power everything. You know, power.
Oh, had power or no hand crank, baby. Yeah.
This was the power.
Yep.
You wanted to lock it. You went like this. That was the power.
Yep.
Yep.
You know,
Mike was in it many times.
now if
Yep.
you get a base model. You get a base model 2020 F-150, right? This year.
30,000, 35,000, 40,000.
Right. So I mean, base model.
The problem is
you get a 4-banger.
You get that now, and nothing has changed. That money has not come up.
What's changed? 2 incomes, right? Which technically
It hasn't. Not since the 90s.
I mean, the amount of the things that have changed are back in the 90s. How long could you finance a vehicle?
5 years.
Max, right? And like that was oh man, you got really good credit. You get 5,
7 or 8.
Oh, you guaranteed, right? Like I mean, dude, I was watching the Super Bowl. Not this year, but last year, right? And I remember seeing the Mercedes 9-year financing. Okay. Oh, get a 9-year finance, and I was like, holy crap! Like, but we so the things that have changed are people their ability to spend for longer periods of time.
Because all they're looking at is what that payment is.
Exactly.
They're looking at the amount they're getting. They're not actually looking at the time value of money,
right?
Which is what we're looking at. So, great example. You have not heard this story yet, Mike has, because him and I talked this weekend.
Yeah.
So Dawn's been looking for a loan for the business to kind of consolidate some of the stuff because, you know, being my wife, what she has done is she's gone out there and she'll use a credit card for a year, no interest, and then pay it off.
Oh yeah, see.
So we got the PPP loan. It absolutely effed us over. So we have a $550 payment every month for the next 15 months on the PPP loan because they are forgiving none of it because she lost money her first 6 months in business.
Sure.
Which is bullshit. But anyways, so she's like, well, if I could roll that over and this one credit card, that would be great. So she's talking to this company.
I mean, what's 3 months? You know what I mean?
And they're like, yeah, we got you great terms. And she goes, okay. He goes, you were only asking for 15. We got you 24. Okay. 24,000.
$9,000 just for free.
Are you ready for the terms? You only have to pay back $200 a day.
It's $6,000 a month.
But you don't have to pay it back on the weekends. It's only Monday through Friday. Mind you, my wife goes,
What's that like? I can't even like 40.
It's $4,400 a month.
Yeah, holy shit.
Because it was just over 200 a day.
What is it, like a 2-month loan?
10?
Oh wait, no, it's 24. Yeah,
It was 10-month loan.
Holy crap, that's a lot of interest.
Yeah, double basically. So,
oh no.
My wife, being my wife, for those of you that have not listened to any of our episodes, my wife has no filter. She told him exactly what she thought of that.
Yep.
Are you fucking high?
Yep.
And it went kind of like you would expect. He goes, well, that's really good. We got you 9,000 more than you wanted. She goes, I'm not an idiot. I'm not paying back $200 a day. You got to be high to come to me with that shit.
Yep.
She goes, close my account. Well, it's really good. She goes, yeah, you're an idiot. Close my account. And I mean, that's where it went. So, you know, Mike knows this because we've known each other a long, long time. You know, he knew me in my phase where I lived at home with my mom and I didn't have to worry about money. He knew me in my phase when I had no money. And now he knows me where I'm at least fiscally responsible, but try to pretend I have a little bit of money. That's not something anybody with half a brain would do. But how many people out there would do that?
A lot. I mean, right? Like free. I mean,
and I'm not going to say, I guess that's a cut down for me to say half a brain, because they probably have half a brain or more. They're just not using it.
Well, and when you, and again, they sell you on the small number, right? They don't sit there and say, hey, this is, double the price. Oh, it's only $200 a day, $200 a day. It seems affordable. Well, my business is making $250 a day right now. I can afford this for a little bit. I mean, I understand where these people get this, because right, it's that dream. Oh, if I do this, I'm going to be successful because it'll let me do bigger things later. We look at, again, the cost, and my biggest thing is giving more people more money is just going to piss people off. We're not going to fix anything, right? Like, and I guess I don't want to.
We could fix things though.
You and I can, if people listen to us.
No. People can fix things with more money. You will get more people that are not in debt. That's good.
What percent though?
That's good for society. It's not necessarily good for the government.
No, the government's they're gonna make more money on taxes.
They're gonna make more money on taxes, but when you don't have indentured servants sitting there worried about their next paycheck.
Sure, but you're always gonna be worried about their next paycheck.
Not if they're making more money. They're gonna sit there and they're gonna pay their stuff. Okay. You're going to have the 15% that are really, really dumb.
No, it's so much more percent.
You're probably right. It's probably going to be 50 or 60.
Right,
but you're going to have that 40% that's responsible with their money. I'm talking to Mike about his money the other day.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's like, yeah, if I get that next stimulus, I'm paying this, this, and this. Am I right or wrong? So, I mean, he knows, he's sitting there going, okay, certain things I want to pay off. This is what I'm going to pay off. Here's a great example.
But how many?
So, no.
How many people do you know though?
I know a lot of people, but a lot of them are dumb.
Let's say like 2,000. I mean, he's one, right? So one 2,000.
But let's take him for example. So Mike and I are supposed to go on a cruise in October. Supposed to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll happen. Mike took out a Royal Caribbean credit card. Why, Mike?
Because I got points.
He got points.
Like 10,000 points.
Which is free money on the cruise.
Yep.
Mike, you going to use that thing for anything other than your cruise?
Nope. Never going to use it for anything unless I go on another cruise on the Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, well, and it depends on
and it's paid off.
And what it gives you. So we're looking things up. The percentage of America that's in debt.
I'm going to take issue with this.
80% of America is in debt. I am in debt, right? I
have a problem with this number, though.
Because it represents me?
It represents all of us, because in debt means I have a car loan. I have a mortgage.
Yes. Mm-hmm. People will always do that.
And so I refinanced. You guys know that.
Yep.
And I'm going to pay it off in most 12 years.
Yep.
Okay. So in 12 years, I'm 55 years old.
Yep.
And at that point, I'll have no mortgage.
Okay.
I might or might not have a car payment.
Okay.
So I'll technically not be in debt. But if I have a car payment, I will be in debt.
Correct.
So you can say there's 80% of people in debt, but I need to know the actual real numbers of what that debt means. Do they have a mortgage and a car payment that they're paying on and it's not a huge deal? Or do they have $60,000 in credit card debt that they don't know how to pay and they're just, shuffling the money around?
Well, and we know more people, like, we can sit here and do this. Okay, so how many people do you know, just quickly, that are in college debt?
I probably don't know as many as a normal person.
Just pick a number.
I don't know. Let's say 10% of the people I know.
Okay, so how many people do you know are like Benson, who are, I know what I'm going to do with my next dollar? Granted, you and I hang out with fucking weird people, but
I would honestly say that percent for me is probably higher, because I hang out with people that have some similar outlook to what I do.
But like, okay, so in jobs and things like that, like I'm gonna go with jobs. Like, let's talk about your jobs.
So the people I
guess-
work with at
yeah,
work,
right.
I would say 2% know what they're doing.
Okay, 2% are actually investing 401k. They're doing something. Like, well,
And those
more
2%, for the most part, they talk to me.
you're right.
And they go, I don't know what to do. Here's my 403b. Figure it out.
But so, but now, how many of the people that you know are in college debt?
That are at work?
Yeah, at work. How many?
I wouldn't know.
All of them? I mean, right? Like,
Maybe. Well, I mean, some people are really smart. So Mike and I have a friend that I work with. Her name's Christy.
Yep.
So
But Christy's one of the people that know what they're doing with their money. So
no,
She
she
doesn't-
has no fucking idea.
but
None.
she comes to you and
Zero.
says, do it.
She'll come to me and say, I don't know what to do.
Right.
So
She's found
parents,
help.
Christy's parents were very smart. When she went to Central Michigan, they had an option where you could prepay tuition.
Yeah.
So you could lock it in. So she locked into her tuition at freshman prices for 4 years.
Yeah.
And like in those 4 years, it jumped 250%.
Oh wow.
But she paid what she paid as a freshman. It didn't matter.
Yeah, which is huge. I
So
mean,
she graduated with no college debt because she didn't, her parents were smart enough to go, hey, this is only going to go up. I'm going to lock this in right now.
oh yeah, and she knew what she was going to go for, and she knew where she was going to go.
Yeah, this is
But-
great. You know what she went for? She has a degree in writing.
Liberal art, nice.
Yeah, she writes. You know what she does?
Types on a computer all day.
Basically, it has nothing to do with writing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, so but the idea is again, I will fight that because so many people, right? If you give them $15, okay, if I give you $10 an hour, and then next thing you know, you're getting $15 an hour.
Uh-huh.
What are you doing with that $5? Oh, not but like normal people, not you and I. Okay, so right, I'm the only one. Okay, I worked at Gentex. Okay, and I only worked with 20 guys. Okay.
Okay.
I started at Gentex $10 an hour. This is true shit. $10 an hour. I got hired in for $11 an hour 6 months later. Okay. I took all that and I probably blew it all. Okay. I got a promotion within 2 weeks to make $13 an hour. Okay. Instantly started my 401k. And because like after a year, you can like start investing with that company. So I started my 401k, started living, right? Like, okay, bought another house, right? Like started, then I got my 75-cent raise, got, whatever, like raises kept going. They gave us 5%. But like my bonuses, right? My bonuses, I would instantly put 50% away. And then the other 50%, I would just go blow on booze and cheap, booze.
Well,
I was
stick with
married.
booze.
But no, so right, like, but I'm the only one. Well, there was one other guy I know in that whole entire place, but his wife was a stay-at-home wife, right? So he had to save like everything that he could. I mean, so I know that given the 20 people I worked with, right, I was one of 20%, like, or one of 20. So what is that? 5%, right? So 5% are actually like, and every time we got raises, these guys, I work, this is, okay, you guys don't know the guy, nobody will understand, but I worked there 9.5 years. This dude, I'm not lying to you, went through, I would say, bare minimum 14 brand new cars, okay? Like, this is an honest thing. Like, sold his house, bought 2 Lexuses. He'll never watch this. Bought 2 Lexuses, okay? That's how much money
He's a
he made.
moron.
Sold both of them not much longer after, right? Took the loss. Bought a new Toyota Tundra. Before I even got fired in that last year type thing, like, ended up buying, he went back to a Volkswagen Golf. Like, I'm not lying, 13 bare minimum, 13 brand new cars in 9 years. And I would say, honestly, it's more like 15 to 17. I could probably name them all, but so, right, like when you give people this kind of money and, all of a sudden, right, we got the 5%, guess who got a brand new Louis purse? And hey, what's your 401k look at? Man, my 401k is doing fine. I got my 5% just going with it.
Here's
I got
the
my 5%,
problem, though.
my company match.
Here's the problem.
If you tell me benefit of the doubt,
No,
you tell me benefit
No,
of the
I'm
doubt,
not
it's
gonna
game
tell
over.
you. I'm not telling you benefit of the doubt.
I don't give people
Here's the problem.
people.
Mike and I went to the same high school.
Yes.
Mike, did you learn about any of this shit in high school?
Nobody.
Nope.
So the best class I took in high school was business math. We touched on some of this stuff. Teacher was Mr. Lockwood, Thomas Lockwood. Shout out to him. He'll never watch this.
Yes.
But Best teacher I had in high school. He was a huge dick. Everybody hated him. I loved the guy.
Yeah.
Because he was honest, and people couldn't take the honesty.
Yeah.
He would literally tell you, "You're an idiot."
Yep.
And that was the type of thing that spoke to me when I was a kid, because I'm like, I can't bullshit this guy. He knows I'm dumb.
Yeah.
So I listened to everything he said. So I had a little bit of a basis, but still, I was so stupid when I was young because I didn't have those foundations. We're not teaching these kids what to really do. So case in point, we're going to have on a kid in the next few weeks who he's 19 years old.
Yeah.
Godwin graduate.
Yeah. Oh, lives at home. We talked about this last
Yeah.
week. Yeah, lives at home with his parents and makes more money.
$54,000.
Yep.
Mike, you have not heard this story. He made $54,000 last year running a drill outside. I don't know what the hell he's drilling, but whatever he drills.
So
Ask me how much he had in the bank after the year was out.
If he was living with his parents, I'm going to guess 40. 5,000.
Yeah. So he comes in to talk to me about money. You've been a part of that conversation before, Mike. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
This kid at 19 years old is pissed off. He's not pissed off that he's talking to me about money. He's pissed off that he's telling me, I made $54,000 last year and I only have $5,000 to show for it. I said, where'd the rest go? He goes, I have no idea. I just spent it.
well, and the good thing is he's smart enough to realize, because that's what. So I was
How many people out there are like that?
a lot, but they're all stupid and they do the same mistakes over and over.
Over and over.
So I bought my first. Okay, I was 20 years old. Bought my first house. Bought my first duplex. 21, whatever
Okay.
it is. Okay, my wife and I lived like we were kings and queens. I went and did my taxes, right? And like I knew how much I made in my job. I had an okay, like I probably had $5,000, right? Like
Yep.
I made the same amount type thing, and I was like, but then I realized like I made $20,000 more in real estate, and I'm sitting here going, well, I don't have fucking 20 grand sitting around. Like I didn't overpay, and like it hit me. Like I was very fortunate, like to get kicked right in the nuts and just go, hey, look, we're changing a lot of stuff real quick, baby. Like say. She said I can make this amount of money. I mean, now this has become a game.
There
me,
just
right?
aren't
like,
people out there that have that mindset,
Yeah.
and we're not teaching it to them when they're young. Again, it goes back to the trading places thing.
Yeah.
Trading Places, great movie. We talked about it in the beginning. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
If you're bred to understand what it is,
Yep.
you'll have better finance than if you're not. So Caitlin's a great example. She's going to have surgery on her hand because she's having some issues. She's going to be off work 6 weeks. Okay. Now she's got plenty of money in the bank.
Okay.
So she can cover this 6 weeks with no pay. It's not, ideal,
Sure.
but she can do it.
It happens. Yeah.
She makes about $1,400 a month. So, we're talking $1,600.
Sure.
So I bought her something the other day and it came and I show it to her and she's like, God, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, they're doing an autograph signing with, the actress right now, if you're interested. And she goes, how much? I said, well, the cheapest is $160. And she goes, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, all right, why? She goes, probably have another chance and I'm going to be off work 6 weeks. I don't want to spend that money. Hey, smart kid.
Right.
She's sitting there knowing that, this is not a good time to do this.
Yeah. I say, but she's still also, right. She's still a kid and still makes the mistakes that we talk about on here quite often. Like,
Oh yeah, she'll
hey,
go out to eat.
right. What's your bank account? Oh, I spent, like, no. So like, nobody's perfect, but the idea is like, if you make at least an effort, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know when I don't try to lose weight, I gain a crap ton of weight. When I make somewhat of an attempt, I maintain or lose, right? Like,
Correct.
So finances is something you have to work on. So, but anyway, back to minimum wage. Like, I'm not going to give you more money because I know for a fact that you're just going to go spend it. And people are like, don't judge people and blah, blah, blah. No, that's what I'm not judging people. I'm telling you what stats say, right? Stats say you're going to go fucking blow the money.
I totally understand what you're saying, but you can't sit there and say, I'm not going to pay them more because they're going to waste the money. Money circulating in the economy is a great thing.
Yeah, but it's not going to help. The only thing it's going to do is help the people up top, right? I mean,
no, it's going to help everybody. It's going to help anybody in that community they're spending money at.
Anybody that Okay.
So
So the 5% of
It's
business,
gonna-
the 5% of business owners, it's still not going to help the people that
it's-
need the fucking
it's
raise.
going to help those small
Fine.
business owners.
Congrats.
It's going to help Gavin. It's going to help Dawn. It's gonna,
yes.
those
yes.
people that are sitting there going, you know, one appointment here
Mhm.
is a lot of money for. I mean, that one appointment here could pay 3 hours of work for somebody, and that's a small appointment.
Exactly.
A big appointment's going to pay like a week.
All we've done is make the people who are already making money more money. Like, you're not a large corporation, you're not making FU money, but you're making money and you're getting by and you're doing whatever. But like, again, minimum wage is for the worker, not for the business owner. And you're fixing nothing.
You're
You-
still
you-
fixing
You've
things.
made my point of
You're
literally
still
no,
fixing
you're
things.
not fixing it. Look, what have you fixed at this point?
Okay,
You've made more money for a business.
you can't
A business owner. Like, that's like saying
Okay.
I just made
I
more money for
can't-
Kellogg's.
I
made more money for Kellogg's.
I
Fucking
cannot.
Kellogg's doesn't need the money.
I cannot. I can lead the horse to water. I cannot make the horse drink.
Exactly. So,
So no. So what I can do is I can say, okay, here's a livable wage.
it's livable for now. For fucking now. That's the problem.
It's not even livable
For-
for now.
It
It's
was.
not.
It was.
It was livable 15 fucking years ago.
Bullshit. It
It's
was
not livable
Get the
now.
fuck out. No, this is what you're missing so much. It's a livable wage
It's not
for
livable.
now. Okay, so we raise it to 15. We just talked about this. We raise it to 15. We make okay. My rent goes to fucking 1,600 a month, right? And then guess what? People are fucking broke again, and they're gonna go, I need minimum wage to go higher. I need fucking minimum wage to go higher.
$15 an hour.
Yes.
Full time.
Okay.
Take home.
Okay.
$1,872. You're making less than $1,900 a month.
Okay.
How much is the average rent in Grand Rapids?
I'm gonna say 975.
I'm gonna say it's more than that.
Nah, I don't.
It's more than
I don't
that.
think I made over 1,000 in Grand Rapids.
Oh, definitely.
Well, you gotta remember, Grand Rapids has a crap ton of like.
We're 300,000.
We're talking Grand Rapids specific, not like.
No, I'm
outside.
talking the metro area.
Kent County or Grand Rapids. I mean,
I'm talking the metro area. So I'm talking Grand Rapids, Byron Center,
Yeah.
Wyoming, Granville,
They-
Jenison, Hudsonville.
they don't have those statistics.
I'm not talking Wayland because that's a ways away. I'm not talking Door.
They don't have those statistics based off that. It's like strictly like Grand Rapids.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. You're good.
But
Come on,
so Byron
$1,200.
Byron Center is crazy, but like Jenison, it's stupid cheap. In Hudsonville, there's a lot.
What is stupid cheap?
Honestly, and this is for viewers watching, you can officially rent in Jenison cheaper than you can rent in Wyoming.
So here's a
Did
question
you hear
for you,
that?
Mike.
Did you hear what the word I just
No,
said? Jenison is cheaper than Wyoming for rent.
I find that hard to believe.
I will pull
Show me, Mike. You were renting before you bought your house.
Yeah.
You were renting in the very,
What's
very
that?
rich town of
Portage.
Portage. Portage, not that rich of a town. I mean, they're decent. How much were you paying in rent a month?
I think for my 2-bedroom, I was doing $750.
Which probably is average for Kalamazoo.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say.
And Kalamazoo, we're talking, 80,000 people in Kalamazoo, the surrounding area, probably, I don't know, 130, 40, probably somewhere in there, right, Mike?
Yeah.
So, I mean, $750, $800 a month, probably not bad.
700 for Jenison. Like, we know how much. I was just looking
Yeah,
at.
but what is the $700 one in Jenison?
It's actually a full apartment.
How many rooms?
I think 2.
Okay, well, that's a really good deal. Somebody should jump on
But I'm
that.
saying, like, I find this all the time in Jenison, where my 2 bedrooms are at
I'm grabbing a beer. You two are.
975s. Anyway, so since David's gone, I get to speak the real truth to you people.
Real truth by
Okay,
ass.
this is what happens, okay? So, Benson, right, I'm afraid, okay, call it afraid, whatever. If we give $15 an hour, how much longer until we hear people say it's not enough money?
It's not enough money right now.
We will never have the end until business owners, it's not worth it for them to fucking work, or to own a business, right? Like,
Yeah. No, I'm going to agree with that. I mean, I don't think I think within a year or two, even $15 an hour, people are going to say it's not enough.
right. And so, and then, okay, let's
But
say,
here's the question:
let's
Is
say
it
we raise,
enough?
let's say we raise, yes.
What do you mean? Yes, we're less than $1,900 a month
for one income. Why are we allowing people like? Okay, so we have to cater to one income people.
Whoa. How many people actually have two?
Shit tons.
A lot don't. 50% of the people out there are divorced. There's one income.
Okay.
One income is $1,900 a month on 15. They're not making 15, mind you. They're making 10.
I mean, potentially, and if you look at it from this perspective, I mean, like, as a dad who pays child support for 2 kids, I'm like, yeah, I pay a lot more child support than somebody who makes minimum wage would, but it takes out a pretty hefty amount of your paycheck. So if you're, taking $1,900 take home per month, you're probably only getting 1,700, maybe 1,650 of that after child support if you're paying for a couple of kids as a divorced person.
Well, I can tell you with Caitlin's, biological father, he was supposed to pay $240 every month. He made $8 an hour.
Yep.
So we're talking probably 25% of his salary at that rate.
Yep.
And his argument was always, well, I know her husband makes more than I do. Yeah, I do make more than you do because I'm not a moron. I don't rent shoes.
And that's, but you're, and I want to go back to that because it's a frustrating point that you're sitting, oh, it's good for the business owners. And that's the whole thing that these people are fighting.
It's good for the economy.
It's not good for the economy.
It is good for the economy.
It's good for the economy in the short term.
It's good for the economy in the long term if the people aren't stupid.
Okay, so
there are going to be dummies.
If it's good for the economy, this is the thing that bugs me. Okay, if it's good for the economy, then why is it when, let's say, Bush, right, gave out your stupid fucking stimulus back in the day, right? Oh, hey, we don't want you people to invest it. What? Go spend it. That
literally was not for the economy. You can't take me to Bush and
that's what he says.
He talked out of his ass.
Every time we get a stimulus, it's we don't want people to put this in the bank. We want you to go spend it.
Yeah, they want you to spend it.
We want you to stimulate the economy.
What they want is they want the poor people to spend it and the rich people to save it. You have to flip the system. So the only way
the amount of masses will never flip the system.
The only way you can look at did capitalism work is to look pre-Reagan.
Sure.
Because if you look at Reaganomics and anything after that point, and they played that trickle-down bullshit, all they did was steal money from poor people and give it to rich people.
And no, they gave people welfare. Right? Like when you don't have to work for something, you're not going to go work for it.
Bullshit.
Okay.
They made people like us get angry at poor people.
You're going to go work for it, but you know what? And when you go work for it, guess what you're going to do? You're going to be shady and not pay your fucking taxes.
Let me ask you something.
I'm going to go do a cash job. I do cash jobs.
Well, you're shady.
Fact.
Let me ask you something. You were poor.
Very.
Did you sit there and go, I'm just going to sit here and collect money and not fucking work?
Yes. No.
No.
But I'm one of, right? Like
we were poor. We didn't do that either.
How many houses do you own?
2.
2. Okay. So, yeah. How many houses are you making full payments on yourself? Like, you know what I'm saying?
1.
Exactly. Mike, how many houses do you, right? Like, we can sit here.
On 1. I make full payments on 1.
How many people do you know own rentals?
I think 1 person.
3,
right, like
3 or 4.
Like this guy knows 1, right? So like you're again an anomaly. I'm an anomaly. But like you know 1, right? Like
he knows you, but you're
exactly.
An idiot.
But that's the whole point.
I may know 1 other person.
Okay, so he knows 2.
So right, but I'm saying like the amount of people that are going to take these risks, these educated risks. Like the amount of people that are going to do the right thing with their money, like
why aren't they? That's the question.
Because they're fucking uneducated. They're not watching us. They're not educating themselves.
That's the problem.
Yes, to fix that fucking problem.
If you look at any other nation, other developed nation in the world, they're not having these same conversations. They're not going bankrupt because of medical bills or college or any of this other horse shit that we go bankrupt over.
David and I are best friends because of this conversation. Right? Medical bills. Like David and I are both, I'm the first to admit, as a owner of properties, right? Like who you say, hey, I got a girl that makes $1,800 a month and wants to rent my $600 a month place or whatever. I look at it and I go, oh man, you're $100,000 in debt. It's medical bills. Cool, you're approved. Like, fuck you, don't pay it. Like, I don't care. Like, because I mean, the medical around here, like doctors deserve to get paid, but you know who doesn't deserve to get paid? Fucking David. Okay, the insurance companies. Like, just it's funny. I was doing this. I was doing a study, and for some acid reflux and all that, and I have a mark here on my arm or something. She goes, "Oh, did you give plasma?" And like, I'm afraid of needles. I was like, "Are you stupid? Like, what? No. Like, first of all, not just because I'm afraid of needles, but number two, like, I'm so against people that give plasma because that money literally it costs. You get paid, and that's a fucking.
You get paid $40.
It's a fucking poor person scam, okay?
It is.
Oh, I get $150 a fucking week to go give plasma. Yeah,
I don't think it's that much.
You're $150, but now go pay for your fucking medication. You're the person bitching because your medication cost you. Oh, it's $1,000.
They take that plasma.
They
take that plasma and
right?
they sell that plasma for 18 times what they paid you for.
Yes, and then they charge you. Like how much, dude? Like how much is your wife's prescriptions? How much is Caitlin's prescriptions? Like how much in your family do you pay for prescriptions?
So when Caitlin was on Humira,
yeah.
This is the shit I hate. So Caitlin's on Humira.
Listen to this.
She had to get a shot every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The shot every 2 weeks cost $4,500.
Every 2 weeks.
No, it was a month supply. Sorry.
Okay,
so $2,250 a week. Sure, every 2 weeks.
And now
for one shot. But if she didn't have that, she could apply, which we did, and they would give her a little card that said you only have to pay $5. So if you have insurance for it, they're billing insurance $4,500 a month for that bill. But if you don't have the money to pay that, like let's say you have a HSA with a high deductible health plan,
yeah,
and you have to pay that out of pocket, they go, you don't have to worry about it. You pay $5.
Well, that's and this is again what bugs me. So you just made for that month, right? I don't know, $300 off plasma. That month you just paid. Again, $3,000 for that medication. You're 100% markup. I mean, like, so not even like sorry. What is that? I don't even know. 10,000% markup. Like, it's so stupid.
We talk all the time about how to save money on stuff. You're gonna love this story.
Yeah.
So, got a bill from one of the area hospitals the other day, not the one I work for.
Sure.
Right. Full disclosure.
The one my wife works for.
Actually, it is. It is the one your wife works for. And it's like $1,200 one bill, and the other bill's like $900. So Dawn calls. I got a $2,100 bill. What will you take if I pay this in full right now?
Yeah.
They go $2,100. Yeah. She goes, so there's no discount if I pay this off in full. They go, no, we don't do that anymore. She goes, have fun with $10 a month.
Yep. No, oh my gosh, okay, so I went and had I had a tooth pulled and I had to go to a different whatever. And I went to one place, they did an x-ray, and then I had to go to another place. So the one place that did the x-ray cost me $86 after insurance. And I get the bill and I call up and I said, how much for a paid in full discount? She goes, we don't do that when we bill insurance. And I said, all right, you don't have a minimum payment listed on your envelope? I was like, I would like to pull a David. And I'd like to pay $1. I said 1 penny, and she goes, "Excuse me?" I said, "Yes, I would like you to run my card
for 1 penny."
For 1 penny. And she goes, "We're gonna take you to collections." And I was like, "That's fine. I will show proof that I've made my payment." And she goes, "What do you want?" And I was like, "I don't know. Knock $5 off, and I'll be happy." She goes, like she thought about it. She's like, she's so pissed at me. You can just hear the anger. And she goes, "So you pay $83 instead of $88. You'll be happy." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll pay you in full right now, cash." And she goes, "Fine, just give me the money." So I literally negotiated over.
You made $5.
And part of it was like, I want to come on here and say the story.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, like, dude, think about what fucking medical. Now that we brought up medical in this whole thing, think of how high medical is going to be because people can start affording to pay their damn medical debts. $15 an hour, people can afford to pay things, but they're still going to just, I mean, people don't go to medical debt on purpose, but
they're going into medical debt whether they're paying for it or not.
But dude,
It's
how
just
much-
what it is.
I'm never gonna pay. I'm not paying $50,000 for a fucking Dodge Ram. Dude, when $15 minimum wage happens and my Dodge Ram costs me $100,000, like I'm gonna be so pissed. Like I'm blaming all you fucking people.
You can do that. That's
You people,
fine.
you 15. No, but you know what? That
You
doesn't
can
fix.
blame me. That's
yes,
fine.
blame doesn't get me my Dodge Ram for the price I
Well,
want it. Okay,
You don't need a Dodge Ram.
I
then.
do.
Then go pay $100,000 for it. Here's the deal:
No,
if people
no.
aren't buying it, it's not going to be
The problem is
$100,000
people are gonna buy stupid shit.
because they're stupid.
Exactly. And why should I have to pay for stupid people's shit?
They should listen to us, and then they won't be
Yes,
stupid anymore.
Right, but you're getting it. I'm finally getting you to come
No,
along. You
no,
agree. We agree upon this. People listen
We've
to
always
us,
agreed on people should listen to us.
but we disagree on the fact
I'm sorry, people should make
$15.
more money.
No, they shouldn't.
If
People should-
minimum wage kept
People
up
should
with
fucking
inflation,
budget. That's what they should do.
If minimum wage kept up with inflation, minimum wage would be $23
Oh
an hour.
my gosh, no. You know what? Inflation. Yes, I get it, but now, okay, I will give you inflation on certain things, and I'll give
All
you
right.
a little bit more.
I have never had this conversation really with Mike. I'd really like his take on this because he's listened to us scream at each other for the last 45 minutes.
No, we just started
No.
screaming the past like 5.
I really want your take on this, Mike. Talk to us about minimum wage and your thoughts.
And we're gonna call you names.
He's used to
Minimum wage, in my thought, overall, I think increasing it is good.
How much?
I think it has to be a progressive increase. I don't think they can just go from what it is now, but I think the people that are going to be hurt by a minimum wage increase are the people who've already put in, gotten some raises, and then all of a sudden, minimum wage is equal to what they're making.
Oh, why does that hurt them though? That just hurts your fucking pride. It doesn't hurt your money.
Well, it hurts your pride.
Yeah, who gives a fuck about your pride?
Most workers care if they're doing a good job. I don't even know what's minimum wage right now.
$7.25.
In Michigan, like $9.25.
So
Well, we're talking
$9.25
federal minimum wage.
Federal,
Federal
sure.
minimum wage is $7.25 an hour.
Sure. Which I think one state has it.
More than that.
Really? Anyway, so $7.25.
let's say minimum wage is 10 right now. Just let's say an average across the country.
Sure.
If you started out in a job at 10, to make it like, you got pretty lucky. You said, in your job, you got a $2 raise pretty much right away.
Yeah.
Then you got another 75%, 75-cent raise. But it's still going to take 5+ years probably to get a $5 increase in your salary when you're starting out at $10 an hour.
Yeah.
If you've put in that much time and then all of a sudden, Joe Smith off the street comes in, is getting paid the same amount as you, fresh out of high school or whatever, it is. I think it's going to ruin the work ethic of the people who are already good workers,
So
unless companies adjust their pay, their rate in some way.
I'm not sure if you were here in the beginning when I pretty much mentioned kind of the same thing. Like I like the Dan Price thing of hey, pay more, but like originally I had said, hey, I'm not against people earning more money to a minimum. Like keep minimum wage at $7.25, because if you work at McDonald's for $7.25 and you stay there for a year, okay, right? Make it so minimum wage after year 1 is, let's be stupid here, right? Like $9, okay? Like you've showed the company that you're devoted to this company after a full year, like give you a big FU raise, okay? Now after 2 years, right, we give you $1. So we're at $10 an hour, right? Like the more you're committed to a company, I feel like there should be that minimum raise with a maximum rate from a company. Like they have to know their thing. Like, I mean,
So I can tell you right now, most companies, they're going to give you 2% no matter what.
right, but
2 to 3, that's it.
but I'm saying like, right, if we're gonna say this, like
Even
Make
if they increase minimum wage, you're still only going to 2 to 3% raise.
that's what I'm saying.
A
Like,
2% raise for me,
Yeah.
is like 40 cents.
well, it's like, I mean, it's nothing. I mean, and that's the whole thing is, so you know what? Don't make it a minimum. Don't make it a minimum wage for year 1. Like make it a minimum wage for 5-year period, right? Like, oh, he's got a 5-year goal. Like, I mean, through college, stuff like that. Like, hey, Make these people work. Like it goes back to my idea of internship, right? Like, okay, so
And I'm okay if you're looking at an age of a person.
I'm looking at just everything.
So I'm looking at a 30-year-old that comes into my business right
Yeah.
now. And if now, admittedly, our business is not a full-time job that is going to support you. Because we're only open 16, 17 hours a week. That's it. So it's not a full-time job by any means.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to sit there and say a 30-year-old that walks in off the street should make $7.25 an hour, because that's bullshit.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
I mean that in the fact of why would it matter if they're 30, 50, 18?
At some point you're paying for experience. But what I'm looking at as a business owner is, and Mike's heard this from me many times, I want somebody to walk in here and actually care about my job. Okay, this is my company. We're providing a service.
Yep.
I need you to care about it as much as I do. And for $7.25, I know you're not going to give a shit about my job. So I ultimately would like to pay 15, and ultimately I will get to 15. I hope to be $2.15 by the end of the year.
But we go back to the human nature. So, Mike, we're gonna get back to you. Sorry, because David and I are gonna go off tangent. We go back to fucking human nature, okay? So, you get a brand new puppy, and you play with the fucking puppy every day for 2 weeks. Then after 2 weeks you play with the puppy 6 days a week, and next 2 weeks you play with it for.
You're talking to the wrong guy,
right? But I'm saying, like, this is
Yeah.
again, normal human nature. Like, you get used to $15 an hour, and you go, oh man, you realize that David didn't get on me because I took 5 bathroom breaks. I'm gonna make the 6th one. Like, people will always take advantage because
they absolutely will.
right?
You're right.
So I'm not gonna pay you for I'm not gonna be forced to pay a shitty employee a great.
No, at
a
that
great
point
wage.
you have to sit there and you have to say, you know what, we need to have a sit down because you're a shitty employee.
Right, but then I mean, people you can't guarantee to trade them, and then now unemployment comes into play because then you have to pay them because you know what, you were shitty. I had to get rid of you. It was cheaper for me to get rid of you, and now I'm paying 1.5 times because now I have to hire a new employee, and like it's
Correct.
It's horrible.
It sucks. It's part of being a business owner.
Yes,
which sucks.
who the fuck wants to take that risk? Like,
so you have to take risk in business. Dawn and I had this conversation when she opened a business. She would bitch and moan about every expense she didn't want to pay, and I'd be like, "You're a business owner now. This comes with the territory."
so it's easier to say when you're the guy who's not doing the business with your passion.
What? I'm here all the fucking time for free.
You're here, yeah, which means you're supporting. You're not owning.
I bust my ass here. You can do that all you want.
I fucking bust my ass in my company.
Right.
And the greatest thing I could ever do for myself is hire somebody else to go do the plumbing, and then they get pissed about it because I'm like, fuck, I should have spent that $200.
Correct.
Like, anyway,
that's why he came and worked for free with me.
because he respects you. Anyway, Benson, back to. Sorry. So we're at the whole point. We're at the whole point of you think it's a progression, and I really appreciate that because I'm
not disagreeing with progression.
Have a set price, but if you were to progressively get to a price, and if you want to make it $12 an hour, I wouldn't be half as mad because I think 12 is kind of an okay, but like you have to progressively get there, and it better be like 3 years to get there. Like
to 12?
Yes, Jesus.
Shit, it should be 12 right fucking now.
No, this is anyway. So what else you got for minimum wage?
I mean, and I see kind of some of the points you guys came up with. I mean, I think Dave's right. As people get paid more, they're gonna, well, maybe it was Nick, whoever, they're gonna make more purchases. They might pay off a little debt, but in general, they're gonna, I said might pay off a little debt.
Yes, they'll pay off some debt, but incur more.
The problem is they don't know what they're supposed to be doing.
Correct.
Because they haven't been taught, because they're not listening to us.
Correct. And
what would you tell them to do? Pay your fucking debt and start putting 25% towards your retirement.
So, yes.
Okay.
So what would I?
But if they're not listening to us, they don't know to do those things.
Right. So what do we need to do? We need to go into colleges to teach these
Okay.
people who are teaching teachers how to teach and say, hey, look, you know what? You're a teacher who makes no money. Like teachers, I love you. I do, right? Like you do great things. You're amazing people. But
They don't make dick.
you don't make shit, but yet you don't teach people to live off of not making shit.
Correct.
And that blows my fucking mind. Like,
Well, because they have this curriculum they're supposed to teach, which is honestly horseshit. Because
Yeah, but
they're
this-
worried about a fucking test.
yeah, and say, so like shout out, I give a shout out. So like I was in high school, and I took
What test did you guys have to pass?
map test, meat test.
Ours was
I
the
don't know.
meat test.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. Like SATs, ACTs. I don't know. I got numbers on the things. I didn't care. I wasn't. But so I was gonna be a woodworker, right? That's what I was gonna do for my life.
No.
I was a sophomore, broke my collarbone, ended up taking a business class, and I was scared as shit. And took parenting because I couldn't go to woodworking school.
Right.
And maybe it was junior. I don't remember. But at the Kent Career Technical Center. And
Junior.
yeah, so junior year. And then, so I took John Schwam's class, right? And Schwam just sat there. He put a movie on. It was John Stossel, right? And he's
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
here, write a report on John Stossel.
2020.
Yeah, what he says. And you pick up a couple things. And it was, hey, this business, this. But like when Schwam talked, right? Like, hey, you want to make money, right? You got to learn to talk to people. You got to learn to confront people. You want to, sales is where the hell it's that type of a thing. Like, hey, you want to make real money? You want to be successful in life? Own properties, right? You want to do that? Like when he talked is where you learned, okay? And so it was funny. This is not going to get people in trouble, whatever. My neighbor now, his daughter works for the same school system. And I said, hey, look, John Schwam is like, he's the laziest teacher, but like the greatest teacher of all time. And she goes, yeah, he's, and she goes, wait, you said what? And I was like, he's the greatest teacher. I'm successful because when he talked, I listened. Everybody else, like the lazy kids were lazy and they just talked this whole class and they got a fucking grade, just like Godwin, right? Like, but if you paid attention, like from an educator who literally
He was
cared.
giving nuggets
Oh shit.
that if
tons.
you cared about,
Yeah.
you would pick up.
Like this guy, he's the one, he goes, do you know why diamonds are so cheap? He goes, do you know why diamonds are so expensive? He goes, they cost you $2 to buy a diamond, right? You can get a quarter carat for $2. Like you can buy diamonds all day. But if you sold it, what would you think? It's a fake fucking diamond, right? Like you wouldn't buy that. Nobody would buy diamonds. Everybody could own diamonds at this point, right? So you have to keep them expensive. Jewelers make shit. There's the biggest markup. We thought mattresses were a huge markup. Diamonds are the biggest markup of all time. And he goes, think about it. If everybody could afford it, everybody would own it. So you have to keep this market this way. So like instantly I'm sitting here going, fuck, I'm gonna sell diamonds. Like I was gonna go to jewelry sales, right? Like, but then I realized that I have to do it myself instead of opening working for a company. Because if I work for a company, my commission would be, whatever, and I'd have to deal with people and so that's where that. And then, but he also said, hey, look, practice this sales pitch. Do this. Why? Because it gets you. We stand in front of two people, look each other in the eye, make contact, do this, like do what we do as friends. Like this is normal. But man, the guy didn't teach crap. I literally wrote on one paper, I said, John Stossel has a great mustache. Grandma Schwam sounds like a great woman. And I bet you $100 I get an A on this paper. And I get an A with a circle, right? He didn't read this fucking thing. Like, you had to write 3 notes. That's what it was. But the guy is the greatest educator. And people are like, oh, I get told yes, okay. If you want the kids to understand how to get a free A, but if you want the people that the kids that are going to be successful financially, oh man, those are the guys that took the class. Like,
people don't understand what they're doing,
Mhm.
and we're failing them by not imparting that wisdom on them, which is why podcasts like ours or other ones that are out there, people will listen to because they're like, I don't understand any of this. It doesn't make any damn sense to me. I just want to talk to somebody that knows something. Even Mike, when Mike and I started talking again, he came to me and we sat down and looked at his bills. Was there any point in time where, when we were looking at your stuff, Mike, where you went, you're a fucking idiot to me? No, because he knew that everything I was laying out, okay, well, this makes sense.
right.
When I had Steven here, who we're going to talk to, he goes home and he talks to his mom. He goes, he talked to me like I was a normal person. It was easy. we're not doing that with kids to teach them. We're not doing that with adults to teach them. If you're not talking to them like an adult, they're gonna, tune you out and be stupid.
Well, and that's, I mean, like, well, even at that, like kids, right? Like we are the only podcast that I know of, right, that tries to make kid episodes.
Yep.
Because we understand that parents don't always know how to teach their kids. We don't always know what to do, but like, if we can start you sooner, we're going to make you successful faster, right? Like, I mean, it took me, again, I just shared, right? It took me to fail at saving money at 20 years old, like with a rental, to succeed later. Like, I mean,
well, we talked about it in last week's meme episode. So, meme stacks.
yeah.
The first thing Nick told me before, I hit record was, you should get the hell out of Robinhood.
Yeah.
And I texted him like 3 days later. I'm like, hey, if I open up an account with Public, they pay my transfer fees. He goes, yeah, I do that. Yeah. So immediately I opened an account at Public. I had Caitlin open an account at Public, and we transferred our shit over because I'm not losing money with somebody else. And I could sell everything I have. But I mean, I bought Disney at $68 a share.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell it right now for $195 and have to buy it back for $195.
Yeah. Well, and, it's. I look at this minimum wage thing as a Band-Aid, right? So if you were to come to me with an educated, laid out program of, this is how we're going to get to it, this is what we're going to do, this is where we're going to go with it, I would be more inclined to listen. But to sit here and just say everybody deserves $15 an hour and your truck price is going to go to $100,000, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself.
You know what country we live in, right?
Yes, the country where capitalism is great and you're trying to feed the business owner.
I'm going to say
you're a business owner.
No, I'm going to say this right now. So today is the 9th?
February 9th.
February 9th. My wife's birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday, honey. I watched the impeachment trial today. They pulled out the Chewbacca defense. I know you know what that is. I know Mike knows what that is. You know the Chewbacca defense?
No. He says
Chewbacca is a Wookiee. He lives on Kashyyyk.
No clue.
But he's friends with the Ewoks that live on Endor. The Ewoks are small. If Chewbacca lives with the Ewoks, you have to acquit. It was on South Park. Chef Aid?
No, I didn't get to
see. You didn't watch Chef Aid?
No.
Dude, this is like a season 3. Mike, am I right or wrong?
You're right.
This is a great one.
I'll have to watch it.
So basically,
I've seen the Harley episode.
Oh my God, this is a great episode, by the way. So
actually,
basically, these two idiots that are talking, this was the
little things. Yes.
So these two idiots that are talking, that's basically their defense at this point. It's the Chewbacca defense. Because if you go on Twitter right now and you look up Chewbacca defense, that's just trending because that's how stupid these two idiots were.
Well, so, all right, what do you think $15 an hour is going to accomplish? Let me turn the tables a little bit. What do you think it's going to accomplish? Nothing. See, folks, nothing.
I'm not sure it'll accomplish a lot. I'm not.
Okay, so then why fight for it?
Because I want people to have a better life. And by telling somebody no. Hang on.
No.
At $7.25 an hour.
Yep. And what's our tax? 13%?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna be conservative. So I'm gonna say they're gonna take home 85% of their pay.
15% tax, sure. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Okay. So they're bringing home $246.50 a week.
Okay.
That's $986 a month.
Okay.
What the fuck can you pay on $900 a month?
Well, most people are going to pay a fucking 7 Series BMW for $750 and have $200 in point gas.
I don't think so.
Not most people, but some assholes.
Yeah, there's going to be 1 or 2 idiots out there. But for the most part, you're going to sit there and go, okay, in Grand Rapids.
Let's say 1 per state. Let's say 50 people.
Let's say in Grand Rapids, $700 a month for rent. You got a single mom who's making $986.
Okay.
The fuck is she doing with the other $286? She ain't feeding those kids.
So, okay, this is going to open up what we shouldn't have a discussion on because it's way too opinionated. Right? Like
She's not paying a car loan. She's not paying for food.
So you think minimum? What's the minimum things you think people should own in life?
I think they should have the minimum. They should have a roof over their head,
Okay.
a way to their job,
Okay.
clothes on their back, and food on the table
Okay. Now, all for themselves?
for their family.
Now, what if I told you you could go to Grand Rapids,
Uh-huh.
rent a room for $400? Small room, you got a kitchen, you got used to everything. Okay? You got single mom, right? One kid. You can put the kid in the room with you, right?
Okay.
You got the bare minimum things. Rent the room, $400. So now out of that, we got 500 left, right?
Okay.
Grand Rapids we live in,
Uh-huh.
public transportation.
Okay.
I mean, not everybody has public. My wife makes this argument because Jennison, right? Okay.
So let's say you have public transportation
Yep.
and you work.
$25 a month is public transportation.
Okay,
cost.
and let's say you work on 84th Street.
Okay, so you're out here. Yep.
Public transportation ends at 68.
Yep. So you can't get to that job.
Correct.
Okay, so what's the one thing you have to do?
What do you mean?
You have to change jobs.
That's not necessarily easy.
Well, in today's economy, I mean, literally, you can. Dude, I've been sitting here and I've gotten 50 emails about literal jobs. I mean, 3 of them were driving for like semis, and I don't even have a fucking CDL. Okay, like, but I'm just saying, like, there's a million, and that's another thing. Like, I'm not like we shouldn't laugh about CDLs, but like,
If you go,
there's companies, there's fucking companies that will pay you to get your CDL.
That was something I looked at one point. I'm like, if I get my CDL,
Everybody has, because you know what, dude, truck drivers make good money, but then everybody goes, well, I want to be home with my family. Okay, you can't have your cake and eat it too all the time.
You're not wrong.
So, like, again, we're gonna go minimum. Okay, this is my thing. You want a roof over your head, minimum, and this is my words for minimum.
Go.
Minimum, 1-bedroom apartment with, and you have all the amenities. You have a bathroom, you have everything.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to live with other people, whatever, but you're living the minimum
Okay,
lifestyle.
go.
Your parents aren't around, whatever. So we have $500 and something left. Okay, you're not eating out any nights. We've talked about
You're eating ramen.
You're eating fucking ramen. You're eating head of lettuce,
Yep.
which is whatever. Like, you're eating Nick and David. We're
Yep.
fucking poor.
Yep.
Dude, we were talking about it because they were talking about a hot dog at the ballpark was, or for the Super Bowl. I want to say it was.
You're not eating that.
No,
You're eating Bar Us hot dogs.
right. But so right, 1 pack of hot dogs for $1. 1 pack of hot dog buns, $1. So like we're at this point, right? And you can get off-brand ketchup for $1.
Yep.
You don't need to put other condiments. So we're at minimums. I do give you that you need some condiments. We'll give you ketchup, but
So for a month, what do you have for food? $100?
sure. Okay, so we're at 400 left. $400.
So you got
left.
$400 left.
Yep, we have to get to our job. Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't want to play the hey, you can carpool, you can do whatever, but right. So we're gonna go $200 in transportation.
Okay.
That includes some Uber. That includes public transportation out to 68th Street. Let's
Yep,
get our
yep.
ass to 60. We talked about $25 to 68th, and let's talk about Uber for the other 2 miles.
We've given
okay?
an employee here a ride every once in a while
Sure.
because she doesn't drive.
I mean, right? So
Yeah.
we're minimum. So we drive that 2 miles
Yep.
for Uber, and that's $4. Well, $4 minimum. So it's $5, right? I mean, yeah. So maximum. So we still have $250
Uh-huh.
left. Okay, so we've got electric. We got our room.
You got electric, you need
Nope. Room and board 400 for one room, 400 you'll get it.
included.
Yep, food. And people are going to say, "Oh no, like I have friends that literally rent per room all the time." So we have food, we have shelter, we have a ride,
Okay.
so transportation, and now we need clothing, okay? You and I both know that if you're not Nick and David size,
You go to Goodwill.
fuck yes, dude. Like anybody but us. Like David and I just trade clothes, right?
Yeah.
No. Like, hey,
Ain't
man,
no goodwill for us.
This is old for me. Why don't you take it for now? Nobody will notice, you know. But you know, okay. So here's the honest to God truth. Okay, so I'm wearing a plain T-shirt. How often do you see me in a plain T-shirt?
All the time.
Like, right, because I go to one. I own a fucking graphics company.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, go to One Stop for $2.12 to get your freaking plain T-shirts, right? Like, One Stop is a apparel wholesaler. Big shout out to them. But like, you can go online all the time. I don't care if you wear, like, dude, you SpongeBob it up, okay? So we talk about it all the time. Like, how much do those shirts cost you? Like, $4.44 is usually like the cost of one.
Yeah, and then we print it on both sides. So I mean, they cost us like $8.
Yeah, so but let's just say one side, right? So like, wear the same fucking shirt. Like, I'll wear Nick Watkins LLC on a black T-shirt with white writing all the time. Okay, so I'm at $100 and I got 50 fucking T-shirts. Sure, I need some shorts and some pants because it's cold here, but my pants cost me $20 and they're gonna last me a couple of months. So I mean, honestly, I have $100 left for freaking savings. Well, people shouldn't have to. In my wife's excuse, people shouldn't have to live with other people. You shouldn't have to, but you shouldn't also do the minimum in life. You want the minimum life, you're gonna get the fucking minimum return. Like, that's just what it is. Like, and technically, the minimum in America, we just went over some numbers, stupidly went over numbers, and you have $100 to invest, and even if you have $50 to invest in freaking savings, well, what happens when your kid gets sick and do whatever? That's where your savings is gonna happen. Your kid's not gonna get sick every fucking week. But yes, it's gonna drain you. It's gonna take you out. But now we talk about medical.
And I get what you're saying. And
Sure.
for a single parent with one kid, that might be workable.
Sure, single parent with 3 kids, yes, okay.
It's not workable.
It's different. But we can't. Okay, and that's the problem. You're trying to fix everyone, and you can't. There's no possibility to fix everybody.
I'm not trying to fix everybody. I'm just trying to make it better.
Okay, we did. We made it better for all single moms, like single dads. Benson, I mean, he's got two different sexes of kids, but like, here's what it is, right? Like,
his kids are at the age of,
yes.
Mike, would you want to live in a 1-bedroom house with your 2 kids?
He wouldn't. But here's the thing, okay? So, and it takes guts, it takes whatever, and it shouldn't, because minimum should be easy. Okay.
Nobody said it should be easy.
Here's the thing, Mike.
Right now,
Mike,
it's impossible.
Bullshit, Mike. Here's what here's how my mind works, okay? You got your kid, right? So, or you got your 2 kids. Caitlin no longer lives at David's house. Would you go crash on the couch and the kids go to their own rooms at David's house and you say, hey man, I'll throw you $300-400? Would you go do that if you absolutely needed to?
Absolutely needed to, yeah.
Right? See, like, there's people, honestly, like, I have a whole, we all know I
would
fucking
do that
did it.
Too. You did do it. I
right?
will
like,
agree.
with 2 kids,
Yep.
like the one lived here, the one lived there, like the sexes were separate. Like, so again, and he made more than minimum wage, but the fact is like, there's rooms, there's basements, there's unused space in America. People talk about gluttony all the time. Like, there's fucking mansions. Like, get the cojones to walk up to this multi-millionaire and say, hey, can I fucking have your maid's closet? Like,
and they're going to tell you to piss off.
yes, but you say, hey, I'll be your fucking maid at the same time.
For every person like you or me out there,
there's
150 people that are going to tell you to fuck off.
Yes, that's fine. Find the fucking one. Quit being lazy. If it means that
I'm
much to you,
gonna let him move in.
Sure.
I'm not letting Johnny down the fucking street move in.
Yes, but you know what? For every one there is of you, there is somebody else that knows this person. Dude, I rent to fucking people. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, I rent to plenty of people. I manage a shit ton, okay? I've watched 4 different families in one place. I grew up with 3 families in one unit. Like, there's people that are willing to do this. Like, my dad he was in one room, the kids slept here, the kids, like, it just happens. Like, you could commingle so much. Stop needing your own individual space at minimum wage.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with you.
And I appreciate that.
But
like, it means a lot.
But when we look at $970, $970 gets you a certain.
Sorry.
Samsung page just popped up.
They just let everybody know. Like, oh, he yells out money and his fucking credit card just pops on the screen. Like, oh, you want to make a payment?
So $970 gets you a certain amount of money in Grand Rapids, which ain't much.
No.
Where Dawn used to live in the Thumb.
Yeah. When
she moved over here, she goes, what do you mean rent for a 1-bedroom apartment's $700? I can get an entire house for 5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't live in the sticks. Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
You can't do that here. And if you go to Chicago or San Francisco or, a major city,
Yep.
$900 doesn't get you jack shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so like, right, your mom's a prime example. I mean, she got the whole fucking basement. She could rent out if she wanted.
She
then,
could rent out many, many rooms. She has 8 bedrooms.
Right, and then people sit here and go, well, I should be able to have my own privacy. Yes, you can, but then don't knock the people that want their own privacy, but should really only have 1 bedroom, right? Like, I mean, again, your mom did more things than bare minimum. Like, I'm not, and I don't know. I also think that minimum is, from a person like me, minimum shouldn't be 40 hours a week. It should be less, right? Like, I mean, but again, you shouldn't be able to live off of minimum, right? Like, bare minimum, right? Like, you should have $0 by the end of it, right? Like, just like death, right? Like, if you go through life at $0, you've like that's the minimum.
But as well as I do,
you need
anybody on a minimum wage
is depressed.
I'm not even saying that. They're not making it off of the minimum, even if they're trying to.
Correct.
They're racking up massive amounts of debt.
Why?
Because they don't have other choices. They don't have other options. So here's a good example for you, and it's going to piss you off because it goes back to the medical one.
Sure.
So I know a family. Kid got cancer.
Yep.
Lived 11 years with it. Died. They're never going to pay those bills off.
Never.
And they're busting their ass.
Why?
For the minimum.
Don't pay it off.
They're not busting their ass to pay that off. They're busting their ass for the minimum.
Sure. Let's not talk about that on air. I mean, right? Like, it's not. I know bare minimums. I only know hearsay types of things,
Yeah.
But I know we can't talk minimums on that. Like, I can't go there, right?
There's exceptions to every rule.
Yes, right. And like, again, when you're making decisions, when you're already struggling and you make other decisions to make, let's call it minimums, right? Like, that's unfair to you and the family. I shouldn't have to support that. Right? Like, it's not a big deal. It's nothing against these people or anything like that. It's nothing against anybody that's at that point. But, right? Like, if you want more, go get it. Right? Like, dude, you don't make
is a lot of
you
that.
don't make minimum wage.
Nope.
I don't make any wage. Benson doesn't make a minimum wage, right? Like, the people we surround ourselves, I mean, I don't know anybody that makes minimum wage.
No.
Like, right? Like, so I do know people that struggle, but it's, again, like, the lifestyle that you're choosing.
A lot of that is choice. I mean, we can look at our friend Mikey,
Yeah.
who's a great example.
Just got a girlfriend. It costs fucking money, dumbass.
Totally.
No, I'm just kidding. Say.
But I mean, you look at him, and even when he was making less money, he didn't have money. And now he doesn't have money.
Yeah, and he makes more.
And he makes more. And part of it is, when he doesn't have any time to do anything, when they're working him, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, he has all the money he needs because he doesn't get to do anything.
Yeah, but he never has money, though. Like, when he's working 70 hours, 80 hours a week, and you're like, hey, man, give me money for a cruise, he's like, oh, I'm fucking broke.
Correct.
He's building up debt and has no fucking time to spend it, and none of us have any idea. Okay, so we all know. My brother-in-law is never going to fucking listen to this. Ex-brother-in-law,
Ever.
right? Like, okay, so makes
way more than you do.
$28 a fucking hour,
Yeah.
right? Like, lived in my basement.
And paid how much?
Like, at one point, it was $75 a week, and then I raised it to $125,
Yeah,
okay? Because, like, I mean,
And he bitched and moaned about that.
oh, fuck yes. So, right, like, I had no fucking money, right? And so, literally, was always broke. Car, couldn't get places, couldn't do whatever. Owed me $1,500 for a car for 6 years,
Yep.
okay? And that's my own fault for not fucking going for it. Like, hey, give me my money. But, the whole point is again, I've helped so many people. And, like, it's hard because we talked about it. I have the lowest rent in Grand Rapids, except for the people who are forced to have it because, they wanted to buy 100 units and the government said,
Section 8.
you can only buy this house if you give 10% to low income, But I personally, I just do it because like I want to see other people to be successful. I should be getting more. Like my brother, I should have gotten shit tons more. Like his family ate more than mine, took up more fucking space than mine, lived in my house. Like
Well, his kids were way older than yours.
exactly, and ate like kings.
Oh,
I mean, dude, I would pay for them to go out to eat because I was like, well, I'm not going to change my life because I mean, so right, my going out to eat at a bar cost me from $50 to $90 just like that. So that being said, like gambling, right? He would just gamble. He would do whatever he wanted, and the money, even when he got a bonus, let's say, right? Like who didn't get extra for a thank you? Me, right? Like so if I give you minimum wage, what are you going to give to the next person?
So-
Like nothing.
But
Like,
here's the question. When was he forced to actually grow up?
never. And why would you make him?
Well, you could have made him.
I did. I kicked him the fuck out. Anyway,
There you go.
right, but like, so and when you get offers to better your life, and you don't take it, right? It's a frustration. So like, if I give again, it goes back, and again, frustration is a self thing,
Yep,
and that's
yep.
something I have to get over. But if I give everybody, if it's not me, right? But if we force $15 an hour and people don't, then we're just gonna go back to people bitching. Oh well, Bezos, at $15 an hour, let's say it happens, right? And people start working harder. Granted, Jeff just dropped out of CEO, but like, oh, he's the first 10 trillionaire, right? People, oh, he made so much money. And yes, he should be giving it back, doing whatever, but like, there's no amount of money that I should stop anybody from making. Just like, so again, that's where we go into corporations and we talk about it. So like, hey, if you're making $15 an hour at Amazon and you want to move up and they don't move you up for any reason, go find another fucking job that's going to pay you more. Like, oh, it's easier said than done. No, it's not. Like, dude, you and I both know I put my resume on Indeed. How many freaking interviews?
You went on a lot of interviews.
Like, I didn't turn down jobs. I didn't get offers, right? Like, but there's so many jobs out there.
And
right?
why didn't you get offers?
Because I wanted too much. Because I found self-worth, right? Like,
And that's where a lot of people sit, unfortunately. Dan Price is a great example.
Yeah.
He knows that if I'm paying $70,000 to this person, they're going to give a shit.
yeah. Well,
And you want motivated employees. The problem is we have too many corporations out here that don't really care if you're a motivated employee. Because if you
they own you.
if you won't take the $11 an hour because they know you're $80,000 in debt, they'll find somebody else that'll take the $11 an hour.
Yep. Well, and that's it's one of the biggest things. So here's a side story. I know we tangent so often, right? I had an interview the other day, and it was all right. Hey, do you have any questions for us? Yep. What's your 401k match? What does vacation look like? What's my top out pay? Do you have any like pension? Do you have any things like this? And so the guy goes, he goes, oh, we're gonna do a pre-interview, right? Like we're gonna kind of walk through things. And I asked these questions, and he goes, I would ask more questions about the company and a little less. And I was like,
No.
I like the company, but no, you need to want me. Like, yes, I need a job theoretically, but no, like, dude, if you're not taking care of me the way I want to be taken care of as an employee, fuck you. Like, that's just how it is. Like, hey, what is what does employee appreciation look like to you? Because to me, it looks like making sure that my family gets fed. Like, and again, it goes back to, it was funny because 2 weeks ago we talked about how American can get back. You're tired of this? Like, fight against the people. And then all of a sudden, the Big Short happens.
Yep.
So, and it was awesome because America did that. Now, you look at and that's what a union is, right?
Right.
Like, hey, we're not making enough money. Okay, don't show up to fucking work. Have everybody not show up to work. Let me know how that fucking place works. I mean, we went through it, right? We had it kind of happen to a few McDonald's where they're like $15 an hour minimum wage and they're picketing and they're doing whatever. The McDonald's didn't open up, and then guess what? They're like, all right, tell you what, we'll do $10 an hour. I mean, they created their own little union, picketed outside, but you have to create that. Like, if you want it, make sure everybody else wants it.
Greatest interview I ever had.
Mine.
So like, no. So like 2016 or 17,
Yeah.
I get an interview at Trinity.
Mhm.
Okay. Local, healthcare company in the area. And I go in and I sit down and, they're trying to have me pitch myself. I work from home. I'm not pitching myself.
Mhm.
I just got a new boss by this point, and the one I hated was gone. And so I basically sat there and I'm like, well, I work from home. What does this consist of? Well, you would have to be in the office. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm down with that.
Mhm.
And they're like, all right, well, what else? And I'm like, yeah, I'm done by 2:30 every day because I'm a high school coach, so I'm just out.
Yep.
And they're like, yeah, I don't know if that really works here. And I'm like, well, that sucks to be you.
Fully understand.
It was the greatest interview I ever had. I basically laid out, this is what I expect in a job.
Yep.
And if you don't like that, I'm fine walking right back out that door.
Yep.
I never heard from them again.
Well, and that's, people like you find your worth, right? Like, and that's the biggest thing. Like, if you were a minimum person with minimum wage and minimum expectations, that's fine. But like, everybody's like, oh, I want $15 an hour. I want $15 an hour, but I also want to work only between the hours of, I drop my kid at 10 o'clock and I have to be out by 2. And I want 40 hours. Okay, so you want to work 4 hours a day for 3 days a week and you want paid for 40. Yep. Like no, okay. So like when I interview, I mean, it kind of just happened. All right, hey, what were you making? I was making, $26.50 an hour, whatever it is. Well, this one starts at 20. Completely fine with me. No big deal. What's your 401k at? Like, you got a 100% match. And every time they say 100% match, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. And then they go up to 3%. And I'm like, what? And then they're like, but they're like, oh, full health benefits completely paid for. And I was like, bingo you, dude. Like 100%. Can my wife be on it if she's offered insurance? Yeah. Okay. Like, dude, you just made me $20. Like, all right. What kind? You got a pension? No, but we got a 3%, 100% match 401k. All right. So you're a small company, so no stocks. Nope. All right. How much vacation time we got? Because Daddy likes to go all the time. I'm talking like 1 week. You're gonna start out with 1 week, and after a year, you're gonna earn another week. All right, cool. But if I need another week off because I got plans, well, you're gonna have to wait till 5 years to get that third week. You gotta, All right, cool. Like, I'm letting you know I won't be here in June, August, and December. Like, these. Oh, well, if you already have things planned, I was like, no, that's every year.
Yeah.
For the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing. Oh, okay, and so, like, when you lay out things, right? Like, if you're good enough and you can prove your worth, like they either want you or they don't. There's a million fish in the. Right? It's just like buying a house. It's just like anything. Like, as an employee, you're just another fish in the sea.
We said at the beginning of the episode, nobody's paying me what I'm making now.
Yeah.
I'm taking a huge pay cut anywhere else, and they didn't teach me how to do anything except for what I do.
Yeah.
Which doesn't translate anywhere.
Yep. And so I personally feel minimum wage should get you the bare minimum. And the problem with getting you the bare minimum is the minimum changes, right? So the minimum back in 1920, right? You could buy a house for. My grandparents bought their house for $8,000, right? Brand new build. Okay. Well, you're not getting that now. Well, you should be able to off of minimum. My grandfather wasn't making minimum, right? Like, he was making $2, and minimum back then was 56 cents. Like, he was making 4 times the amount.
Difference is in 1979.
Yeah.
You could make minimum wage and then still buy a vehicle, still buy a house.
And the problem is
it might not be a new build.
Sure.
It might be a hovel, but you're still buying, your own place.
So, and let's fight about this real quick because I want to. I know we're running super long. Right, but you can buy a house. Fight me on this, right? This would be fun. Okay. So, Muskegon Heights, I just found a house. $23,000.
Okay.
Tell me you can't afford that off of your minimum payment.
You could probably afford that.
Yeah, that's cheaper than rent. Technically. And so now
you could probably find a job near there that,
We'll pay you that.
you
minimum.
could walk to or whatever.
Yep. Until you get to
Yeah.
the next thing, right? Pay your house off at this point,
Yeah.
and then buy the car, and then do the next step, right? Bicycle. I don't care. Like
Yeah, there are options. I'm not saying there aren't.
there's areas, right? But now, when you want to live in Heritage Hill in Grand Rapids and pay minimum,
So my house in Plainwell.
yeah,
Mike has spent many days there in life. My grandmother bought that house for $17,000. You know the upstairs kitchen, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
There was no roof on it.
Oh.
Which is why she got it so damn cheap. Because it wasn't finished. In 1972.
Yeah.
So for her, she saw it was a steal. The house is worth $325,000.
in 1972.
Now,
Oh,
now, Mike knows where the house is.
so do I.
Mike, you grew up
Yeah.
in Plainwell.
Yeah.
Is there any house on AB Avenue that you would pay $300,000 for?
Oh,
That you might pay that in what, Doster?
yeah.
But
Or
you're not
more.
gonna pay that on AB Avenue.
No.
And mind you, she's got 8 bedrooms, 5,500 square feet.
Yep.
5 acres, a pond, 5-car garage, a barn, 3 bathrooms.
I've used all 3.
Have you?
Yes,
I have too.
it's more fun for me.
I had a friend once that broke every toilet seat in all 3 bathrooms.
That's,
Mike knows him.
I know that guy.
that's funny.
And no, it was not me.
It was not him.
That sucks, dude. I would have been proud of that. So anyway, again, I don't feel like. Have you changed your opinion
No.
on minimum wage?
No.
I don't feel like
It should be way more.
It should not.
It should be way more.
So, I don't think this has enlightened anybody that we're going to change their mind, but I don't feel that minimum anything should be an acceptable standard.
Here's what I think that this episode has proven. You should listen to us
Yes.
and you should talk to us. Because if you want to live the minimum life and have a ton of debt, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But if you actually want to get out of that debt and live a better life, come talk to us because we're going to give you some ideas.
Yeah, I would hope.
And we're going to sit down and make a plan. I go back to this a lot. I'm a coach. And as a coach, I hate everybody I coach against, literally everybody. I'm in competition. I want to win all the time. Mike has played sports with me. I mean, we used to play basketball in the driveway. We used to play basketball in the pool. Shit would get contentious. Bloody noses and stuff. People throwing elbows.
Hey, who doesn't like a good game of Fight 21?
Basically, yeah. So I'm extremely competitive.
Yep.
I want to win at everything, except when it comes to money. I like to celebrate people's successes.
Yes.
I want them to I genuinely want you people to do well. What the hell is happening?
So
Okay, we were just connecting again, I guess.
that happens. So, and I think it's a big thing, right? Like want to win for yourself in life, right? That's a huge thing. So I'm going to wrap us up. New Glarus, right? Employee owned company, which means they probably pay their employees pretty okay.
I would hope so.
Fat Squirrel, really appreciate it. Bon from Three Sheeps Brewing, milk chocolate, and of course my good old favorite, Odd Side Ales, Hazel's Nuts Raspberry. I have 3 left. If you are our 1 millionth like or subscriber, I will give you one. So, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends that you enjoyed this episode, because I know David and I really, it's funny because we really enjoyed this as much as we disagree upon things.
We do. So I had Mackenzie's Apple Crisp, which I will be leaving for the business to break. I had Rourke Brewing French Toast Devil Dog Oatmeal Stout, which was excellent. And then I broke into the Right Brain CEO Stout, which I love.
Oh,
Right Brain.
Such a good.
Mike, thank you for joining us. I don't know if you got to say a lot, but I was happy to have you.
It's always entertaining listening to you.
We do like to argue.
Yeah. Discuss with a passion.
Yes. So everybody, thanks for joining us this week, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Yes, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Say.
Otherwise, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
say.
we'll do something.
We'll definitely make something happen.
All right.